Hello, and welcome to Totally Schway, a podcast about the DCAU and whatever the hell else I want it to be about. My name is Mary,
And my name is Luke.
and today is a day
Yeah, it is.
that ends in Y.
It is. Every day ends in Y.
So let's start off. Do you have any news today?
I don't think I do. I know one thing I can say.
Oh,
Yeah, I do know one thing I can say.
Breaking news.
I don't know that it's breaking news,
Okay.
but Todd McFarlane's releasing another set of Batman the Animated Series figures. This time it's a Mad Love special set of the Joker and Harley, and the Joker's got a black suit with a big grinning face. So you can find that on Todd McFarlane's website.
Has anyone checked on Todd lately?
No.
I don't think we really need to check up on him, but I haven't had a reply to my video, so I was just
How rude.
I was just wondering, like, what's up, man?
Well, he seems to be leaning very heavily into Marvel stuff now. He's not getting the DC license for next year.
I'm not keen on all of the Marvel stuff at the moment.
No.
I'm sure it's good, but it's just I have always been a DC person. I was talking to our niece about this a couple weeks back, and she likes that sort of stuff, like the Marvel stuff and all of that. But I think it's too cheery, and I'm more of a realistic. Like if I watch a movie, it's gonna be more realistic, or it's gonna be Interview with the Vampire,
Mhm.
you know, or
Yes.
Twilight, or whatever. It's not. I love when superheroes don't end up saving the day. When they have to, Fantastic Four was really good in that regard, where they showed the mistakes, and the fact that just because we believe in something doesn't mean we can actually do it by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes you need help, and I like that. And a lot of stuff I watch from DC is like that, like Justice League, for example, and Batman Beyond, which is a good segue into what we're actually going to be talking about today, because Bruce Wayne couldn't do it on his own anymore, could he?
No, you couldn't. It's almost like you planned that little segment,
I
Mary.
did not, though.
Not in
I'm
your
getting
notes.
better. I am
Yeah.
getting better.
Yeah, okay.
There's not even like a second page to that.
No, no.
Okay, so today's topic is I think Terry McGinnis needs therapy.
Okay, why do you say that then, Mary?
I have notes,
Okay.
and they're mostly questions. So,
But last week's episode, or I
Mhm.
should say last time's episode, was questions.
Mhm.
Or the question.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this, so I'm just going to stop.
Mhm.
Resume what you were saying.
Okay, so let's talk about Terry McGinnis.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Terry McGinnis?
Terry McGinnis is a slightly rough around the edges teenager growing up in
Neo Gotham?
Yeah, Neo Gotham, in a vaguely futuristic period around 50 years from now, whenever now is. Back in the day, they were like, oh yeah, it's in 2039, but that's now that we're in the 2020s, that's not at all credible.
No.
Always intended to be sort of roughly, basically 40 to 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some things about Terry McGinnis that are quite remarkable, but that aren't part of the actual storyline, because we're going to get into that.
So like his personality and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he's overall he's a decent kid.
That is the perfect way of saying Terry McGinnis, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Decent kid.
He has a short temper, though, or at least early on he had a short temper. That comes from insecurity.
Exactly.
And he was often getting into trouble, sometimes with the law, sometimes just in school. Like, for instance, in the first episode, when you meet him, Rebirth Part 1, he's having a wrestling match with a high school bully, Nelson Nash, and Nelson spits in his face, and so he just throws hands, punches him out. And then the coach says, that's it, you're suspended, or whatever. And it's like, well, actually, Nelson committed a crime by spitting in his face, so, Yeah. But Nelson was standing by looking smug, acting like he'd done nothing wrong.
I don't condone violence like that. I always thought when I was in because obviously I went to American high school, and I knew personally some of the people that got into fights, and I just thought it was so stupid. Like, I was like, why? Like, first off, we had a zero tolerance thing where you automatically get sent to jail. You have to pay the $500 to, I think it was like $500 to get bailed out or whatever. And I just thought it was so stupid. First off, you're ruining your academic career. You are disrupting your parents' day or your guardians or just the people in your life around you that had to see that fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just how selfish.
Yeah, very true. It is selfish.
How
Yeah,
selfish.
okay. I've got nothing to say against that.
Mm.
Although I do think that someone like Nelson Nash needs a good sock in the mouth every now and then to keep him humble.
I we've all known people like Nash. And I think in my opinion, not in my opinion, in my life, those bullies get a shock of something else. And when they get into the real world that isn't high school, it is very different. And there's always a bigger bully in life. And they will learn that without the need for violence. Believe me, I know a couple of people that did bully me in school. And let's just say, not doing good. Well, that's whatever.
Moving on.
Yeah. So, first question I have.
Mm-hmm.
Who, again, without getting too far ahead, even though this is quite far ahead, who is Terry McGinnis before epilogue?
He is a son mourning his deceased father, who he felt initially he feared that his father had been murdered in retaliation of his own actions. So he'd got into a fight with a street gang called the Jokers. When he eventually got home, he found his home vandalized with graffiti saying ha ha ha, lol lol lol, trollololol, etc. And his dad had been murdered. Now, initially he blamed himself, going, they must have done it to get back at me because I'd embarrassed them.
Mm-hmm.
And he felt shame and guilt.
Sure.
He learned that actually that was not what had happened. He'd been murdered by Derek Powers' men, and they'd made it look like the Jokers had done it because he had uncovered evidence of Derek Powers' wrongdoing. So, okay, he was absolved of that sin in his mind, but he still felt like he had things to make up for, like being a punk kid, as he would describe it. And, you know, he was basically someone that wanted to do right with his life.
You know, you also see some of that in how he treats his little brother, too.
Yeah. Sometimes he's very nice to his...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can see that it's not just his life that he has to worry about, because his little brother looks up to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, obviously he still has to have his mom and all of that. So
yes,
you can see him becoming a decent guy.
Yeah, and that's a key thing as well. He's not alone after his father died. Although his parents had divorced and he lived with his dad.
What I was getting at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His mother is still around, and he's got a younger brother who is an irritant, but he does care about him. So he's got a support network. He's got a girlfriend as well, which I'm sure you're going to get to later on. He has friends in high school. He's not alone. That's how he differs to Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne isolated himself and kind of stopped being a person in a way. Mm-hmm. He became a thing. That's what he made himself into. Gradually, he kind of opened himself up again, but by the time we see him in Batman Beyond, he's completely shut off again. Yeah. But that's a kind of entirely separate matter. We're here to talk about Terry, aren't we?
Yeah. So I'm going to go down into some of my other questions.
Mm-hmm.
What is his relationship like with Batman? Or we should say Bruce now, because he becomes Batman.
He's still Batman. I call him Elder Batman.
I call him Bruce.
Yeah, well, he's not really Bruce, though, is he? Because in his mind, he's a Batman. He says that in this series as well. He's like, I knew those voices weren't coming in my head.
Yeah.
Weren't coming from me because they kept calling me Bruce. That's not what I call myself.
That lives in my head, rent free.
Yeah.
I've been telling you so many things that live in my head recently.
Ouch.
But yeah. So his relationship with, obviously, original Batman was quite weird at first, because Bruce didn't really just 100% give him Batman.
No.
You know, he still had his guidelines and this and that. So Terry was like, oh, somebody's doing something for me, but I'm still having to do it somebody else's way. When am I going to get to do something my way? we do eventually get a little bit of both of their world in there.
Yeah.
But I think it ends up being a great relationship. Not perfect, but it is perfect in the way that it is. This is someone he looks up to. This is someone he works with. Mind you, I say with, not for.
It does also work for
yes,
them.
But what I'm saying in terms of Batman,
yeah,
he's working with him because it becomes a not just a Bruce Batman thing. It becomes a Bruce is the original Batman, but Terry has, is really good at what he does. So when Bruce realizes that, he kind of treats Terry a little differently when it comes to, yes, he still has his guidelines and his like whatnots and all of that, but Terry gets to have a little bit more say. So a lot of the DCAU programs, if you will, because they're kind of like PSA sometimes, but a lot of the shows have had comics beforehand. And I believe this one is a little bit different, whereas it didn't have comics before, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But it did have it after.
Yes.
And it's is it still going?
Not really, no. It's kind of complicated, and a lot of people have difficulty getting their heads around this. It's why. Okay, I'll try and explain it. So, Warner Brothers Animation, I guess it was the WB Network, excuse me. The WB Network president at the time, Jamie Kellner, took Bruce Timm, Alan Burnett, and I believe Paul Dini into his office one day and said to them, you can stop working on the new Batman Adventures and Superman. I want you to do a new show about Batman when he was a teenager and teenage superheroes. I want it to be like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, even though I would argue that Superman and TNBA were very much like Buffy the Vampire Slayer in terms of tone. But anyway, so they went off and had to think about it, and they kind of came up with the idea of it's not going to be Bruce Wayne as a teenager. It's going to be a teenage replacement for Batman set in the future when Batman is too old. And then they created all of the characters from that point on. Now, in order to synergize with the TV show, DC Comics released Batman Beyond tie-in comics. Most of them were written by Hilary Bader, who was one of the show's writers, which is why there's no question about it. They count. They're part of the same continuity. When the show ended in 2001, I want to say, the comics ended shortly afterwards. And about 10 years later, they kind of started doing some other Batman Beyond tie-in comics. But they were worked on by people who did not have anything to do with the show. And they did like really tedious, obvious stuff like, oh, let's do Man-Bat Beyond, let's do Hush Beyond, etc., etc.
Here, I've got something to say about this.
Go on, Em.
Just because one thing works doesn't mean it needs to be multiplied.
Yes, yeah.
In my opinion, it doesn't work a lot of the time. I know this is going off topic a little bit, but one time that it has worked is in the Absolute series, because they're not just recreating the same type of thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But with Batman Beyond, it was very unique.
Yes.
And it was a different concept than we were, what's before, because it's not Batman going into the future.
Mm-hmm.
It is Batman in the future as his present.
Yes.
Whereas if we did like a Man-Bat Beyond or Clayface Beyond or whatever, it would just be so... I don't think it would work very well, in my opinion.
It's the obvious idea, isn't it? It's imagine going, right, we're going to do Batman set in the future, and we're going to have him fight the son of the Joker and the son of Two-Face and the son of Killer Croc, the son of Scarecrow. And you're just like, oh, really? Come on. So one of the beautiful things about Batman Beyond is that, yeah, okay, they did bring back a couple of villains, but only a couple, and it was meaningful. It was impactful. Like Bane's very brief appearance in The Winning Edge as a decrepit, just out of his... not out of his mind, that's not what I mean. Just almost comatose pensioner, because these are the side effects of using venom for years.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had Return of the Joker, and you had Mr. Freeze's appearance in Meltdown, which was wonderful.
I feel that Batman Beyond was unique in the fact that its main focus was not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Or, the original Batman. It was Terry. And with that, they got to have kind of the same emotions with this particular character, but also they got to have new ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a new character
Yeah.
from an old character, but still new. And with this new character, they gave him a slew of different emotions,
Yeah.
and not just angry, because he
Mhm.
was angry. He was, this, and that. And this is where I'm going to say the name of the topic. I think Terry McGinnis needs therapy because his relationships, the fact that he probably doesn't get enough sleep, let's be real.
Has to sleep during school time.
Yeah. He is trying to reckon with his past, because I think he does feel guilty about it a little bit, about being a bad boy. Yeah, you have all of these things, and I think it's so unique to this particular story. Whereas if it were, say, I don't know, Harley Quinn, 2035, Harley would still be Harley,
Yes.
but a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the DD twins are the Harley Quinn of Batman Beyond, aren't they? I guess just by virtue of being her granddaughters, but
the thing with the DD twins is, yes, they are descendants of Harley Quinn, but I feel even in their brief appearances, there's something there in terms of, they can do their own thing. They just choose to do this. Whereas Harley was completely infatuated, with the Clown Prince of Crime. Whereas the DD twins just do the DD twins.
Yes, yeah, they're distinct, aren't they? And I just wanted to take a very brief moment to say that just because the Batman Beyond comics published after 2001 aren't part of the same continuity, it doesn't mean that they're bad.
Oh.
It's just that then that I think my thing is I get more frustrated with people going, oh, that comic where Barbara Gordon got pregnant by Bruce Wayne, that Bruce Timm is a pervert. And it's like, Bruce Timm didn't have anything to do with that comic. That was completely different people, decades after they'd moved on from Batman Beyond. He had no involvement at all. What the hell are you talking about?
But even in situations like that, these superheroes, bar Robin, are adults.
Yeah.
And adults tend to, do things with other adults. And that particular subject, having a baby with somebody else, like Bruce Wayne, things like that do happen.
Yes, yeah. And the thing is, something I probably don't point out enough is actually that the writers on those comics go out of their way to distinguish themselves from the cartoon. So, for instance, in the Rebirth era Batman Beyond comics, they brought the Joker back to life, and they gave him a different death. That he had been killed in a train crash, apparently, back in the day, not shot by Tim Drake. So, it's very obviously not in the same continuity as the show, and yet people still mix the two up. I don't understand.
All right, let's get away from the comics then.
Yeah, shut up, old man. Stop shouting at clouds.
Let's get back to Terry's social life.
Yeah.
So in this show, we get to see that he has a girlfriend, like a long, term girlfriend, that, I think he eventually wants to propose to at some point. And, you have other people like Melanie Walker that are kind of, I don't even know the word for it, but like when they come into Terry's life, he feels like he wants to save them, and then because of that he starts to feel different emotions that he might not want to feel towards Melanie, but he thinks that kind of friendship is worth
pursuing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, that wasn't the word I was looking for, but it was worth, losing Dana over very briefly if he were to have pursued those things. I'm not a therapist. I go to therapy, but I know that a therapist out there would have something to say about that, where
Well,
you are in a very good relationship with someone who is very lenient with you. Because let's be honest, Dana is lenient. Is anybody going to have a problem with the way I say that? But very lenient. She just always gives him chance after chance after chance about, oh, you missed this, you weren't there.
Where's Terry?
Where's Terry? Where did he go? I thought Terry was here. And yeah, what do you think about that?
I think that after his father died and he became one of the breadwinners for the family, I think she became more tolerant of him. Because, his excuse was always, I'm sorry, I have to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And she broadly accepted that. There were a couple of times where she let the frustration get to her. Like that episode Rats, where he's late for their date at the pizza place. And even though she's dressed up like she's going to like a gala ball, but they're just at like some pizza restaurant.
You don't talk about how women dress, thank
I'm
you.
not talking about how women dress. I'm just like saying that it's perhaps not the appropriate attire for a
I'm
pizza
sorry,
spot.
Dana is not the type of person that wears long socks with tennis shoes. Like someone I know.
But the point I was trying to make there is that, she's generally very understanding and very patient. They don't do an awful lot with her character other than, she's someone that gets disappointed in him when he doesn't turn up or has to leave early.
Mm-hmm.
But she understands.
He also has Max.
Yes.
Who is like his best friend, really.
Yes.
And she is the one, in my opinion, I'm saying that a lot, that really gets it. Because she gets it because not only does she understand that he's lost somebody, he has a job, but then she actually gets it because she puts her head in there and she finds out who he actually is. And instead of trying to get him to stop or whatever, she joins him because she understands that he needs help and not just the, friendly pat on the back type thing. She actually gets in there and helps him. And I think Max is probably, well, obviously she's one of my favorites. She is the one that kind of understands, other than Bruce, that understands Terry the most.
Yeah. Yeah, because Max has her own family problems, doesn't she, with her own absent parents. Not quite the same thing as being, well, Terry's not an orphan because he's still got his mother.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, losing his father, not quite the same thing, but it's similar, and I think she can relate and understand. And she's someone that wants to be useful.
Yeah.
Even though she's not necessarily suited to like field work, she's still very good at assisting.
And that's something that happens quite a lot, obviously, in the real world, is when you need help, and maybe not the type of help that the other person needs, that other person might think that they're helping you in a way, but actually they're just giving more to the problem at hand. And I think in a way Max is doing that, but she's got her own issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really think Bruce should have had like 17-year-olds be, fighting crime like that.
Well, yeah, I think Max is very much trying to keep herself busy so she doesn't sit around and think about her own sad existence.
Mm-hmm.
But I will add that Bruce was not very tolerant of Max's involvement. He kept like telling her, "Nope, you're not part of this. Shut up. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. Stay out of it." There's that funny moment in the episode "Where's Terry," where he pretends that Bruce pretends that he's letting Max help. He says, "Okay, I'm going to go talk to those guards, and while they're distracted, you see what you can do. Sneak off down that tunnel."
Mm-hmm.
He goes over to the guards and says, "Excuse me, should that young lady be in that tunnel?" They will go after her,
Yeah.
allowing him to sneak into the tunnel.
That's one of my favorite moments because it goes back. Well, there's a lot of moments in this that you get peaks into Bruce's old life.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something that you would have seen in Batman the Animated Series, or the Adventures of Batman and Robin, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual issues. Let's actually put a name to them. So first is, why does Terry need therapy? Grief.
Right.
Mommy issues.
His mummy issues. What do you think his mummy issues are?
That it feels like he has to somewhat be the breadwinner of the family along with her, because he has to help raise his brother.
Mm.
And that's an issue for a 17-year-old. 3, Batman.
Just being Batman.
Yeah.
Stop.
4, Neo Gotham is very weird place.
Yeah.
Very weird place. It is, Gotham City was a very hectic, crime-ridden place that you had the occasional kind of supernatural type thing. Neo Gotham, on the other hand, still crime-ridden,
Yeah.
but it seems cleaner in a way, like not like the trash or whatever, but just the aesthetic seems cleaner. But it goes to show that just because it's cleaner doesn't mean it's better.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got their whole new set of issues, but in my eyes, a lot of these issues are a bit more realistic. I mean, except for the flying suit and uh the what is it, ground, the guy in the ground,
Earth Mover.
earth mover. That's definitely not realistic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it still stays true to it being emotional torture.
Mm.
And then the 5th and probably not final one, let's be real, is the thing that I see every time I watch this show, because I've seen all of it a few times, and it is this: daddy issues. because Terry loses his father,
Mm-hmm.
and he finds, heathen work, as I would say, like doing really bad things. And then he gets, put away for a little bit, and then he goes back to school, and then he finally, meets Bruce and all of that and becomes Batman. I think Bruce becomes his father figure.
Yes.
Because he has lost his dad.
Yes.
Just like Bruce has.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same way, but
yeah, sure,
similar. And then he's trying to become Batman, like his own version of Batman. But Bruce wants him to be his version of Batman. So that's a part of the daddy issues. And then we find out that Bruce is actually his father.
Mm.
And that becomes a whole other can of worms.
The thing that I like about Epilogue, I know a lot of people go, oh, I hate that they changed this, and I completely understand that argument. But the thing that I like about this is that Terry finds out that he is, the biological son of Bruce Wayne, but he never tells Bruce Wayne.
Bruce probably knows.
Bruce might have guessed it after they meant it. In Terry's imagination, he's playing through the conversation. That's what the black and white sequences are. They're like how he thinks the conversations will go in the future, the things he's planning on saying, the things that he's planning on doing. He says that when Bruce had kidney problems and Terry was an exact match to get him a new kidney, or to give him his kidney. I can't remember the exact terminology. They might even have said to grow him a new kidney. Futuristic technology and all that. That was the point that Terry became suspicious. So chances are Bruce probably already knew. Mm-hmm. But Terry never tells him. Never tells him.
Come on now. Bruce / Batman, finest detective of the world, who had his computer in his Batcave, mm-hmm. that would probably take spit from his cheek that Lobo did. Obviously, Justice League. He knew He
Yeah, he may very well
knew.
have done. I mean, the biggest giveaway is the fact that Warren and Mary McGinnis are both, well,
Ginger?
yeah, maybe Warren's got brown hair and Mary's got ginger hair. And then Terry and Matt have got black hair.
Blue eyes.
And blue eyes, yes. So that's like the biggest tell. And I remember, I can't remember who said this, but there was someone on my Batman Beyond the video the video I first did for Batman Beyond years ago. Someone said in their headcanon they think that Warren and Mary McGinnis probably broke up because the two boys don't look anything like Warren, and he thought she might have been cheating. Even if he didn't expressly say that to her, the thought would probably be there in the back of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, that's very sad. As I said when we talked about Epilogue, the true victim in that case is Warren McGinnis's balls.
I don't really agree with that, but yeah. I know we've kind of like gone off topic a little bit and
yeah, sorry.
all of that. I'm not just talking about right now. But the whole point of this is Terry McGinnis definitely needed a couple of days a week worth of therapy.
See, I kind of view his work as Batman as being his therapy.
Oh no, that's somebody who needs therapies type of idea, isn't it? I have daddy issues, so I'm just gonna work through it. No, you need to do a different type of work through it. That's the whole point, is you need to figure out, first off, work-life balance, life balance, meaning that going through grief is hard enough as it is, but he's also Batman now. So he needs to try to figure out how to be the best Batman he can be.
Mm-hmm.
And working through the grief would help him do that.
Mm. I wonder if Terry has a slight distrust of therapists because the school guidance counsellor was Spellbinder.
I don't know, because we had some guidance counselors at my school, right?
Mm.
I don't remember how many. I never really went to them, other than I think one of them did my scoliosis test, which was weird. Which when they did that, they took like 5 or 6 girls into a room, had them lift up their shirt to look at the back of their back, unbuckled their bra, looked at their spine, touched their spine, and all of that.
I assume it was a female guidance counsellor.
The first time, yeah.
Oh,
Second
dear.
time, no.
That sounds suspicious.
It's not really. But some of those guidance counselors, let's just say they shouldn't have been in schools whatsoever. So and I trust a therapist. Yeah.
Do you want to give Terry McGinnis your therapist's number?
I'll have to ask her about it first.
Yeah, you're taking new clients. So there's this guy. Oh, I should say a boy, really. His name's Terry. He's messed up after his dad died.
She'd probably know what I was talking about, to be honest with you. Because I do talk about like Batman and stuff. But she'd probably be like, Mary, I don't see cartoon characters. I'm like, that's why you're cool. So, daddy issues, relationship issues, and being Batman, with a ton of other things that are just out of this world, literally out of this world. And, just coming to terms that he is the new Batman and he needs to do it a little bit differently. Okay. And just marry Dana. God.
Hey, he proposed to her at the end of Epilogue.
I know. I wanted to see the wedding.
What if she said no?
I would have loved to have seen that. So my last thing that I want to talk about, Batman Beyond. Batman of the Future.
Oh, no. We're not going there. Goodbye, everybody. No, go on then.
So this week has been a bit, I don't know, when you talk about Terry McGinnis, you kind of have to jump around a little bit because you can't really explain one thing without another. And when I was writing these questions, I was like, okay, but I would have talked about this first, and then this and this and this. But I wasn't able to do that even when I was writing the questions, because I was like, well, you have to talk about this first, and then you have to put this in there, and then eventually it will explain something. So yeah, that is why I think Terry McGinnis needs help, therapy. Want to talk about next week? Not next week, the next pod?
Yeah, the next pod. So actually, you've stumbled on something there. We just need to remind people. So if you're a long-time listener to Totally Schway, perhaps you forgot that we've made some changes. Traditionally, we'd read out the viewer comments and questions from the last episode, but it ended up making each episode way too long. That was the feedback we were receiving from people. So Totally Schway is just about the topic at hand, which in this case is Terry McGinnis's need for therapy. And then comments and questions will be answered in the episode of Totally Schway Flipside, which is out next week.
Yeah. And the episode of Totally Schway that's out the week after next is going to be about the Justice Lords. Which might not seem like a topic that, because they're in there briefly, but not really.
Yeah.
They're a big vital part of the DCAU. So
yeah, particularly Justice League Unlimited. Absolutely, yes.
So yeah, we'll talk to you next time, and remember, I love you guys, and don't forget to wear sunscreen, even when it's cloudy. Take care of your allergies. I say that because my allergies are burning my nose today. And drink water.
Lots of water.
And feed the pets.
Always.
Love you. Bye.